Yes, indeed.
Parfait. All right, Nick. We're live on Facebook on the Real Estate Investors Club. Thank you so much for joining us. Actually, Nick Slobodinuk is a broker from PMML agency, largest real estate brokerage and real estate mortgage company, actually largest in Quebec, again, in all that is 6 and up. Nick Slobodinuk is a real estate broker that I work with a couple of times. He has a very good opinion on the market, so I'm really glad we have him on the live today for 30 minutes or so, depending on the questions we have today. So Nick, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Jean-Philippe, and I'm also a big fan of your work and what you do in the club. So I'll be happy to answer all the questions you guys have.
All right. So Nick, for those of you who were on the French page on Monday, actually yesterday at noon, we had a discussion with Patrice. Obviously, things have changed since then. So what do you think about the situation right now? Is all real estate investment stopped? Is anything still going on the real estate market?
What we see right now is a little bit of uncertainty. Okay, nothing has stopped. We definitely see some procedures taking more time. However, the interest is still there. People that wanted to sell, they still want to sell. People that are buying, they still want to buy. Everybody wants to see how is this going to develop a bit. So we have this, we have to communicate constantly and share information transparently with all the parties. But I don't foresee any major stoppage or crisis like the media portrays it. Yes, we do have a small, COVID issue that you have to be addressed seriously and stuff. But real estate market is as what it was a few weeks ago so far.
Because all the people involved in the real estate industries are not considered as essential so far. So inspection, evaluation, notary, that was a big question. Do you have any insights on what's going on with the notary?
Yes, I have smaller insights. I think it's best to wait until the press release is going to confirm all this. But for now, what I hear is that the notary, the judicial services, is that the right way to put it? What the notary do and the lawyers do, it becomes part of the essential services. But the degree of what's essential or not will be confirmed. But so far, every transaction that we are in right now and are at the notary stage will be proceeded to closing. All new transactions will be evaluated depending on how the notary will react based on what's coming in the few days to come. But so far, they're open. They could be voluntarily open. That's what it's important to note.
Any clue? I know you may not be in the market, but any clue if we can have an electronic signature with the notary? Have any clue on that?
It's a very good question because yes, I did try to bring it up to a few notaries that we deal with, but technically, legally, they're not able to sign from distance. However, there's still ways you could proceed according to my knowledge. There could be ways to be able to send documents through FedEx or meet in a certain controlled environment at the office. I think there's ways to make it happen, right?
Hopefully, yeah. They're talking about things that's gonna change. Hopefully, this is one thing that's gonna change. Not forced to be like in person at the notary. Hopefully, it's gonna change. We'll see.
They're working on it, I hope.
Yeah, we're working on it. Okay, so business as usual, but how can you handle, there's a lot of question on that, on how do you handle a transaction that is actually ongoing right now? I know you did a little introduction, but can you give me some real example of what's going on with some transaction right now?
Well, what's important to know that I'm in the middle of many transactions, and there's $1 million transactions. And what's going on is that people are still interested, and we just have to work around the situation. major players, they want to buy, sellers want to sell. So we, as a broker, I have responsibility to find solution how to make it happen, because we're giving the responsibility of going through this transaction. So we find solution, right? So the one way we could, find solution is through the due diligence. You don't really need to meet in person unless for visit or inspection, right? So in this kind of situation, what I heard recently, tenants cannot refuse to show their apartments, right? If necessary measures are taken. And by necessary measures, I mean, yes, you have to wear a mask. Yes, you have to wear gloves. Yes, there might be one person only to be able to visit at a time, the apartment, and then it's going to be the other person. So there is a way that we can work it out and reassure the tenants that everything's fine, everybody is going to be safe, and we're doing this to according to the laws. So visits, inspections are possible. Some inspections, people want to see all the apartments sometimes, even though it as well as I do in multifamily, it's not really necessary to see all the apartments, because once you see a few, you have a good idea, right? You're an experienced real estate investor, and but still, for the inspection, we can see few apartments, and we can do common areas, right? As soon as this is done, we have a good idea if we're willing to go forward with the transaction and apply for a mortgage to the bank, and we'll move the file further for financing. And eventually, if you want to go back when this is all over to inspect some more, the door is open. I wouldn't think it's necessary, but I mean, we have to remain flexible, and this is the way I see it. What do you think?
Yeah, and any clue on the financing? Any clue on some of your transaction that are at the financing stage? Any clue of what's going on?
So far the banks are open. As you can see, our office is empty. There's no one here. So we do as the law says. And however, we're fully operational. Everybody have their computer and they're set up at home. Everybody know what they have to do. So we communicate through virtual meetings like this. And the files are moving forward. We're putting new properties on the market. We're getting new properties as mandates. And when we cross that bridge for financing, and some transactions are in financing right now, it's moving. It's moving pretty well, because I think the uncertainty has provided the fact that some people are not pushing their transactions further because they think the times are uncertain. However, averse investors, they will go forward because it's a good opportunity to buy. It's a good opportunity to buy, and the banks are open. They're very, very willing to collaborate. They want to remain to the service to the public.
You just jump on the subject of, is it a good time to buy? Can we go a little bit deeper than that? Do you think? I know we had the interview with Patrice, and he was saying like experienced investors market. What do you think about that?
I think exactly what Patrice said. We shared that thought together, and the idea is people who are experienced and have liquidity will see this as a good opportunity. So many times, a lot of people were talking about the right opportunity on the market to buy. This is the right opportunity to buy. And people who are into the game, who are buying, they just have to adapt a little bit their perspective, but they want to go forward and purchase new deals, because more property of AAA location will be available. Sellers sometimes are more flexible too. There's other terms we could negotiate that makes everybody happy. It's a good opportunity to buy good real estate and less competition. And what I mean by less competition is that those people who are just starting in real estate, who think, who used to think a month ago that this is trendy, whatever I buy is going to make money. No, right now, not whatever you buy is going to make money, but it's good to buy and analyze the property for it to make sense. So we have less heat around the whole industry, but the industry remains very lucrative. And I foresee in the next 3-6 months, the industry to pick up pace again. The interest rate being low, the economy is stimulated, the pace is going to pick up. Plus, what else are you going to do with your money? What else are you going to put it under the mattress? I mean, if interest rate drops, inflation goes up. The federal government issues billions of dollars, okay, to support the economy, artificial support. Who's going to pay for this? obviously there's money devaluation because there's money put into the system. So that 100,000 or 500K you have in the bank is going to devaluate with time, unless you buy real estate, and brick mortar doesn't devaluate. So when everybody would understand that their money has to be invested in good real estate, in 6 months from now, the pace is going to be so up again that, you know, opportunities are going to be limited. There's going to be a limit for opportunities in the future. So that's my perspective. That's what I think.
That's the beauty of real estate, because in uncertain times, interest rate goes down, so the real estate becomes more attractive to investors. And usually, when we have such a downsizing of economy, and the stock market crashes, well, people are more interested of buying real estate. Do you think, I'm just thinking that out loud, but do you think there's going to be more balance of sale because people, they don't know where to put their money in? Do you think it's going to be something that the seller is going to be more open to accept? I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I think yes. I personally think balance of sale is a good way to compensate for the risk for both sellers and buyers. What's good about this for buyers is the fact that they could have, you know, less risk. They will participate with the seller eventually if something happens. So, and plus they will get more, you know, more access to funds. Definitely able to buy bigger real estate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good perspective. I think balance of sale are going to be brought up to the table. However, where we are right now, it's probably not. The situation of the market where, you know, it's going to overexplode with balance of sales. So I would wait for that. And the advantage for sellers to give a balance of sale, well, they could ask for a good interest rate in return. Their money is parked into the asset that they know. You know, it's parked in real estate, and it yields some returns for them. Plus, you have deferral of tax and all the stuff that are benefit to them.
Should we continue our prospection, Nick? Should we, like, in this, like, quarantine? Is that the correct word in English? Quarantine. Yeah. Should we stay home? Or should we, like, continue to prospect, make some calls, send some letters? What do you think? Or work with the real estate broker, obviously, like all these choices.
Well, obviously, it's a personal choice for everybody. You know, there is no law that prevents, you know, anybody of prospecting. However, me as a real estate broker and our team, we're putting efforts into prospecting because we know exactly how to approach sellers. You know, how to put them in confidence and bring more inventory to the market. You know, obviously, as a prospector, if you're used to do it, you know, maybe you should continue doing it, or maybe you could also, you know, open your eyes for more opportunities on the market that brokers will come up with. There's no right answer for this, I think, but yeah, we're definitely going to increase the volumes for the time to come.
Yeah, we were saying yesterday with Patrice that well, for a real estate broker or for a direct prospection, that everybody is home right now and they have time to talk. So I think it's a very good time to call owners like real estate investors or direct prospection because they do have time. What about doing follow-ups on all the promise to purchase that were refused in the past? Are you going to do that with your clients?
Definitely, yes. I mean, we're seeing a small shift in mindset as the shift comes with the market. You know, we see that people may be more interested in selling. Some of them are even, you know, would be interested in keeping it though, you know. So yeah, it's a good idea to maybe follow up on the properties that you were able to close because the price was too high or the condition were too far apart. It could definitely work in the advantage of, you know, trying to close that. Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, there is people who are more motivated to sell, and it doesn't mean, the market's going to crash. It just means that some people prefer, to be safe, to have more liquidity. Maybe because in 2 to 3 months they want to buy some other stuff, because the market is going to be different and it's going to be more to the benefit, probably of the buyers eventually to come. We don't know how this is going to last, right? Who knows how much time it's going to take? But yeah, if it lasts 6 months, this is probably going to be a buyer market. But if it lasts 2-3 months, nothing's going to really change. This is what I think.
Yeah, because we're stuck between this market and the fact that Montreal is still has huge untapped potential compared to any other cities. So, and we seem to be, well, if you agree or not, we seem to handle the situation very seriously. We have good leadership. So is it going to be affecting positively the market? We don't know, but definitely it's interesting because Montreal still has this untapped potential, but tough market these days. Interesting. Just to let you know, Nick, a funny story actually after the live from Patrice yesterday. A guy made a follow-up and he was refused for a year and he just got a promise to purchase accepted after this live. So hopefully somebody's gonna do the same today. So that's very nice.
I love it. So that person didn't question, the fact that what's going on with the market. He said, I'm gonna be active, I'm gonna be proactive, and I'm gonna make it happen because the mindset I have and my decision to own real estate, I have to go for it right now. That's the good moment. And if you have that attitude, I think it makes the whole difference compared to someone who says, oh, I'm gonna wait a little bit. If you wait too long, you're going to be out of the game. So just adapt to any circumstances and go forward. We're going to be stronger on the end of this. I'm very confident.
We're in the present moment a lot. It's difficult to forecast ourselves at the end of this crisis where real estate's going to be at. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to live somewhere. So real estate is always going to stay the same. Which brings, yeah, go ahead there, Nick.
Yeah, I just wanted to point something out because I had this discussion a lot, like what's going to happen when this all ends? What do you think is going to happen when this all ends? People are going to go out, they're going to spend money, going to give hugs. It's going to be la joie de vivre, going to spend money, going to go to local businesses are going to blossom. They're going to want to invest their money in real estate because stock market was disappointing. And maybe some people who keep their money in stock market, and when it goes up, to be able to recuperate what they have invested, they rather put that into real estate, into local real estate, where they're close by, where they own it, when they're able to manage it, and they will appreciate the community. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a new era, that we're stepping into soon.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to change. So you think commercial real estate will stay the same? What's your forecast on that?
Commercial real estate, I mostly do multi-residential, but I have my opinion on commercial real estate. I think commercial real estate is suffering more than necessary right now because of the measures. The measures are necessary, but there's nothing we can do. But at the end of 2-3 months period, when this is going to pick up, people would want to go back to work. Business are going to open. They're going to open for business, and they're going to blossom because people who are staying home, they're going to be spending money. They're going to be spending money. They're going to be earning money. They're going to spend whatever they earn. And I think commercial real estate is going to pick up. At least it's going to be at the same pace what it was. So it's just a small step back, the way I see it.
Okay. And lots of question. Lots of question about April 1st, the rents. Lots of question. I know we're going to receive on the French side Hans Brouillet from the Corpic. So if you're bilingual, you may want to look into that. But I would like to have your opinion on what do you think is going to happen on April 1st on the rent.
I think my opinion is as good as yours. However, I think that some people will take the opportunity, in order to try to call the landlords and have discounts, or postpone payments. I don't think landlords should take that easily. I think you should be telling your tenants, it's fine. We're living a hard moment, but you guys, find a way to pay for the rent. If you have to use credit card, you could use credit card. And then there's governmental support also. We have a program for, supporting people who lost their jobs. So this is income as well. I mean, if they're getting money from government and they using the apartments, they have to pay for rent. Obviously, some people will definitely be in a hard situation. Maybe if you open up the communication lines and find out what the real problem is and try to find solutions. And sometimes, yes, maybe they're missing $100 or $200 for this month. You can postpone it for next month. And no excuse should be taken that the banks are giving breaks for landlords. Yes, there's going to be some measures to make it easier on the landlords, but nothing is for free. There's going to be postponements of payments. So tenants are using your apartments, they have to pay. This is a service that they have to pay for. I mean, I would definitely recommend trying to keep things as they are right now.
The one idea I got from Thierry Samlal, a colleague of yours, it was a very good idea. Actually, he said, if a tenant is not able to pay this month, why don't you spread out as a payment agreement that you increase the rent by a certain amount, and you spread that debt over a year with a new lease. So for example, let's say he's not able to pay this month, so you increase the rent by $50 and you put that on the lease. So that's good economic value that you just gained there if you're going to refinance. So that was a pretty quick. Yeah.
I think it's a very wise idea. It's a very wise idea. In the measure of possibility, I mean, if he's not paying for first rent and second month, then it's going to be a high increase, and maybe there's going to be a contestation in the regime when it opens.
Yep.
But it doesn't. I think it's a good opportunity to think about that and find a way to make it happen. Yep. You definitely have a very good point, and yeah, good.
I think it's good, and people are scared. By the way, I've just had discussion with my property managers. So far, there is no drastic like strike or anything. Just a few people sent some letters for negotiation for explaining the situation, which we're gonna look at. But one fact that everybody needs to understand: if your loan is with the CMHC right now, there's nothing planned on postponing for now. I know that some banks are dodging it a little bit, but for now there's no plan for it to be accommodating the rent, the loan.
That's exactly it. And if you just to expand a little bit on that, if you have the opportunity to pay your loan, you should be paying it, right? This is what Patrice mentioned yesterday, and I think it's very important, because if you have the opportunity, don't take advantage of the system right now to postpone your loans. If you have the money, pay for it, because the banks are gonna notice people who are paying versus the one who are asking for a break, and it's gonna have an impact indirectly or directly on your ability to get credit in the future, right? The bank wants to see how solid you are as well. So yeah, it's important to pay.
The relationship. Another trick that just popped into mind that I want to share with the English community here was the idea of a rent guarantee. So if you're in a transaction right now where you're afraid about the April 1st rent strike or whatever, you can always ask the sellers for a rent guarantee. So basically what it says is that the seller just guarantee the rents for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and depending on the rents that you receive is gonna guarantee the rest of it. So I just want to share that tricks with everybody. So that's a good way to secure yourself, and that's a good way for the seller to avoid dropping their price, as Patrice said yesterday. I think it's very wise for a seller. If you're selling right now, just say, yeah, I'm going to guarantee the rents for the next 3 months. That's much better than dropping the price by 100K.
It's a very, it's a good argument, absolutely. And it's going to fly easier than dropping the price, definitely.
That's it, because I mean, the rents are a little portion of the property price, of course. We're just gonna go with the question. We've received some, Nick. What would you do if you have liquidity? Would you renovate a building that you have, or you would buy another one? That's a very good question.
Very good question. It's a very interesting perspective. You know, I would hesitate between the two, but I would think personally, if I had liquidity, I would go for something that is in a good condition, you know, not a slam dunk, you know, maybe, you know, something that is good, it's portable, you know, you have decent windows and doors, and the roof that doesn't need repairs, and you have fine tenants, you know. And fine tenants right now is interesting as it sounds, you know. People who are paying under market value, they will be paying every month, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, well, at least there's going to be, you know, much less negotiation or defaults in payments. So I think a nice property that has potential to be renovated and optimized in the future, but you can keep it for now for 3-6 months or at least a year, that yields a sufficient cash flow. It's definitely what I would consider personally.
Okay. There was a question that we actually answered at the beginning of the live, but I think it's important that we answer it again for those of you who just joined us. How do you handle building visits in this condition? You're going to repeat yourself, Nick, but I think it's good in 30 seconds. How would you do it?
Absolutely. I had this conversation yesterday with one of my sellers. I said, "How do you feel? Do you feel comfortable in making visit happen in your building?" He said, "Yes, I'm very okay with this. You know, I will make it happen. I will speak to the tenants. We'll come prepared. We'll come sanitized with masks and goggles, whatever it takes to make everybody secured in this visit. That's what's important." So yeah, visits are possible with the right precautions.
Yeah. Buy some hazmat suits. Okay, yeah,
sure, why not?
Breaking Bad style.
More actual now than it was.
A few questions also about cold calling. Would you say something different to owners when, as a real estate agent or as a direct prospector, on is there anything special you would say when you cold call people in these days?
What I would say special, I will try to secure them. You know, first of all, you know, not push for the sale, but you know, just communicate. How do you feel? What's going on? What are you planning to do with some real estate you own? I think it's important to address more than ever the person behind the immovable.
Quick transaction as well. I think that would be a good
quick transaction.
Yeah, a good sales pitch in these days. Do you think, or no?
It depends, but you definitely need to start with at least a conversation of what the person really needs. How do you know? What's his situation? If he needs his cash quickly, then definitely, if you're able to offer him, you know, me as a broker, you know, I'm able to offer him a quick transaction, cash transaction, then definitely I would try to get that. But most of the time in multifamily, nobody really needs a quick transaction, because most of real estate are not financed up to here. You know, they're financed up to 40%. You know, it's what Patrice was saying. You know, he has the right statistics. I don't. But most of real estate owned by some, you know, some people who are elderly. They're not mortgaged over here. They don't need a fast transaction. You know, they have money coming in, a good cash flow for this, and you know, maybe they even think this is not going to last too long. So why would I need to, sell it quickly?
Yeah,
so
that's
it's like it.
Yeah, Patrice said the people that are vulnerable right now are the people who just bought sometimes property in the middle of optimization sometimes, and just over death. They're just over there. So that's interesting. That's going to be a very interesting market. But again, I don't think every seller is going to be motivated on the market, of course.
Absolutely not.
Flipping, where I have some question about house flipping, which you don't do at PMML, but do you think it's a good time to flip multi-family property as well? You think that would be a good time?
I think it's a good time to keep the optimization going. I think we share that perspective, me and you. The fact that a lot of people, they have signed their end to their leases, and they will have to be moving. So a lot of people are looking for apartments. In the next month, probably we'll have more action. As right now, everybody's kind of uncertain, but they have to change location, and they want a good quality apartment. And people who were buying were expecting to buy a home, a duplex. We're talking about residential real estate a bit. They were, they were hoping for the salary to pay for this expense, right? And what happens is that some people lost their jobs. But yes, they do have savings, but they lost the job. And renting, it's a better alternative to owning because it's definitely less expensive. And even if you default on a rent, you're not going to use your property. So I think those people will expect to buy will probably rent. So we have, more, not luxury, but more expensive rental clients coming in on the market. And those who are staying, who want to maybe have lower rent, they will rent somewhere, exterior of Montreal. They will go for lower rent. So we'll have all type of clients, all type of demand for multifamily. So I think flipping, yes, is a good idea. And even luxury real estate is going to be in demand because people want to keep the quality of life they had. And if you had a $500,000 home buying expectation and now they have to live somewhere, they will rent for 2,000, 2,500.
Well, that's true.
Temporarily.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And new construction, any tips, any comments on that?
New construction, as I see it right now, I have a few transactions going on. So far, nothing to be aware of. Nothing alarming is going on. I think new construction is about the same. In new construction, if you look at the clientele, there is a lot of retired people that wants to stay in new construction. So these people, they have, governmental support. They have their pension plans. They also have savings. So this remains, very strong clients. And new construction is always, it's clean, it's nice. Everyone want to stay here. So I think the demand will be the same.
Okay. All right. So I think that was about the questions. There was question about notaries, but I think independent notaries or the notaries attached to, there was a question about that. Notaries attached to a real estate agent or independent notaries. I don't think there's much to do right now in this crisis. Any last word, Nick, that you want to say before we close this live?
Yeah, I just want to point out to the people that it's very important to be safe, take the right precaution with all this virus. And like myself, probably you have seen many videos on YouTube, and the precautions, is obviously wash your hands, try to stay home, only necessary stuff, and keep the temperature between 18 and 20 degrees. That's very important. I rate the property. I rate your apartment often. I try to keep the humidity in from 40 to 60%. Those are the most optimal conditions to be able to get rid of the virus. So that's for the safety part. And for the other part, spend some time with a loved one, read books, educate yourself, keep planning on owning real estate, do some research, contact us if you have money, if you want to invest, if you want to sell as well. But over and above, it's a time to reflect. There's a lot of good novels that were written while there was quarantine in the world in the past. There's a lot of breakthroughs that were made by the people who were quarantined and who stayed in isolation. So if you take this time to work on yourself, be with the loved ones, we're going to get through this. And when the time hits, la belle époque qui s'en vient, we all going to enjoy this and we're all going to be better off eventually. So I really, that's my message to you guys.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think planning on business also, it's a good time where everything stops so you can start working on your planning. That's what I actually do on my side, a lot of planning, but yeah, very wise word from you, Nick. So so if you want to join us again on Facebook Live, we have a real estate, not a mortgage broker, sorry, on Thursday. Emmanuel Elkoubi on the live here at noon on Thursday in English, and in French on Wednesday we have actually Christian Pomerleau from PMML again on the French side discussing any plans on the bank of softening conditions. And on Friday we have the founder Jacques Lépine. So actually every noon during the week we're going to be busy teaching us and learning from the crisis from the best. So thank you very much, Nick, for joining us.
Thank you very much, GP. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too. Hope to see you soon too. We're in the middle of a transaction together, Nick and I, so it's gonna be a lot of fun during the next days. So, all right, thanks again, Nick. So we're just gonna close that live right now. So
thank you, guys. Thank you for watching.
Bye bye.